Hello everyone, and welcome to a set that many of you may not recognize, as it is based off of the Freemaker Saga, which is a LEGO show that ran for 2 seasons a little while ago, during the time of The Force Awakens. Seems about right. And so this was a $30 retail set, where you get yourself an Eclipse fighter and also a Dengar speeder. Now we have Nare, which is the specific villain Jedi, because you can see that there's a red and blue lightsaber, because when we get to the figure, that will be made more apparent. I do not have the box for this, as this is an older set, so we're just going to jump into it, starting with Dengar. First up, like I said, we're going to go over Dengar. Now, Dengar starts off with a little bit less detail on the legs than you might want to see, with just a dark brown. It does look good for him, right, because I'm assuming that that's the proper color that he's supposed to have. It's just a bit unfortunate that there isn't more detail there. Then moving up to the torso, we do have his battle armor, which did receive a lot of detail with the belt, and then you've also got the rounded upper armor plate, which has a bunch of detail there. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see that. We've also got some of that light orange, which also looks really good for some rust. You've got a little bit of almost like a vent in this here corner. You've got two little cylindrical things, and I can't really go into depth about everything because I'm not too familiar with Dengar's armor, as is being made apparent, but there is a lot of good detail there. Now, unfortunately, the arms do not follow suit, as although he does have a blaster, there's physically no detail on either arm, which is a bit unfortunate to see, but they did really skimp out on the details for Dengar here. Now, he does have a sniper in his arm, and also on his back, he did have a bit of a backpack, but nothing too special there, just a silver toothpiece, a divider, and then 2 brown studs to make a little bit of a combat backpack. Now, his back is a little bit less detailed, but he does have some straps to kind of fulfill the battle armor. You do have a little bit of the continuation of the rust, and you actually do see the white undershirt that he is wearing with a bit of wear and tear or some sand on it, which is good to see that there's still some detail on the back, even though most of it is obstructed by that backpack. Now, the head is the bandage looked, as he always has. Nothing too special there. His face is a bit upset, as you can tell, with the rings around his eyes, and also just the general expression that he's giving. There is no back or second head. It is just all white with the bandage wrap that he normally has, the iconic bandage wrap that he has around him. So let's move on to the second figure. Now, Nare here, in the angrier state, is doing a little bit differently, as we do see the robe printing on the legs, which is good to see. There's a bit of robe indentation, so that you kind of get the aspect that this is a robe and not just a pair of pants, which also continues. You do get a belt, which is more defined than the one on Dengar, with a continuation of the just robe aesthetic up until the arms, which lose the detail, as there is nothing on the side profile or anything. You will notice that there's both a red and a blue lightsaber with a non-chrome tilted hilt, so you don't get the same thing that Count Dooku has. If I can take one of them off, you get a bit. It's still curved, something that you might see Asajj Ventress wielding, which is kind of good to see, because we don't really get those hilts too often, so getting 2 of them in this set, particularly for a $30 price point, is pretty good, specifically because you can use them for more than just that. And you also get a blue and red one, which is quite nice, because the red coloration is a bit rarer on lightsabers, seeing as we get a lot more sets with Jedi, especially with all of those Luke Scion speeders that we've been getting recently, especially now owning the UCS one. But if we look at the head, there's a lot of Sith facial painting there, so that you can definitely see a lot more of an angry aesthetic. There's a lot more of a rage face. You can definitely see the soullessness in the eyes, so you definitely see all of that evilness there. You do get a dark blue cape. It is a soft cape, which is nice to see. If we turn around, we get a little bit of a hood type aesthetic and the continuation of the robe, with a softer white paint along with just like a happier expression and also less soullessness in the eyes. So definitely an interesting character. Definitely one that many people will forget about. So let's move on to the ship and speeder. Now, Dengar's speeder is definitely an interesting design using some of the dark tan throughout with a little bit of sprinkles of light tan. Now, you do get a small little windshield up at the front, which isn't too crazy. You get two blasters up at the front, which aren't really too usable if you think of them as blasters. I'm pretty sure they're just like extensions that you have a bit of length on the speeder with some flaps to kind of help it gain momentum and speed up. So realistically, there's no weapon functionality on this speeder, which is a bit of a downside or a plus side if you think about it. Maybe it sacrificed a bit of firepower for a bunch of added speed. Who knows? You do get a little bit of side greebling. It's not much because you just get one of these astromech heads, or like the other variation, because you do have the full dome, and then you also have the semi-dome. It is a semi-dome with a bit of curvature to kind of round it out in the back, where the back is pretty flat. The bonus of the back is that you can put Dengar's weapon over on the back to kind of keep everything in one piece. It does extend out, but you do get some vents, so you can have him laying further down, but then he can't reach the controls, or you can have him laying a bit upright so that he can reach the controls like I had previously. Now, if you take it off, you do have a two-studded look with a little bit of a vent in tan to kind of make it easier for you to take it out. Pretty simple speeder design, but it's definitely it definitely works and it does look good for the price point of the set. Now, Nare's Eclipse Starfighter is definitely more interesting as it does have two modes. Currently, we are in cruiser mode where you can see a lot of red and black with some dark red and black with some sprinkles of gray kind of thrown into the mix with the thrusters. It's definitely an interesting ship design, seeing as we don't normally get something that looks this type of style in Star Wars. However, I think it works as an execution. It's definitely a working ship that you can definitely find a bit of enjoyment of. Even if you're not a fan of the character, you can definitely find something in the ship because it's got that darker color scheme, which we definitely get, especially if people really like the Kylo Ren shuttle, which I have over there in the red and black. Because red and black work really well together, and if you see this as like a Sith Starfighter, because Nare is a part of the Sith, and it works like that. So you just have yourself an extra Sith Starfighter, which you might not normally have. Now, some of the benefits of this ship are in the back. You've got some thruster flaps, so you can kind of angle stuff. These are also angled. You do have a cockpit where you can just fit Nare inside of. You don't really have to worry about the cape because it is a soft cape. You don't even have to clip it in. You can kind of just fit it in there. You might have some seepage of the cape, but generally you won't have too much difficulty with that. You do have these arm extensions because that is how you angle things together. If you angle it out, this pushes back. You now have access to the spring-loaded shooters, which by now you've probably seen how they work. You just insert the missile. You have a little bit of firing tab, so you can press down in this little section. It is a little bit tighter than you might find on some other LEGO sets. However, it does the job. You fire out the missile, and bing, bam, boom, you've got yourself a little bit of an adventure there. Now, you do have some markings here for Nare specifically. You do get more of those dome pieces to kind of get the side engines, and you do have the proper anglement of the Starfighter, so you do get a lot of stuff there. Now, the last thing that I thought would be important to mention is that, like Dengar's speeder, you do have space for the lightsabers. So, there's a lot of storage capabilities for the weapons, at least. Nothing else, because now that we've fit everything, there's not much more space on there. You might be able to fit something in the cockpit, like a holocron, which has been used in the show a few times, where you've got like a holocron in there to kind of communication. So realistically, pretty small, but for $30, you're definitely getting an interesting deal here with Dengar being included, which is not normally typically seen. So that's pretty good. And also, if you have any interest in Nare, you also get Nare. So I think this is a pretty good deal for the money that you're spending on this set. So I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye.